Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so now I have my order set up. Roman numerals, capital letters, with the details of the sentences. I use regular numbers, and of course, right here I have some details of details of details. And I use the small lowercase letters. So now let's take a look and see how this works. Now, what you would do is you would grab your word web, and then on a separate piece of paper, you would set up your outline. But, so you can see it all in here, I left this area up here, and I'm going to kind of show you how it looks and then finally go over the final outline. Okay, now notice the very first one, Roman numeral 1, is the introduction. Once again, I always save the introduction. Will always be Roman numeral 1. I'm going to introduce this entire story. Okay? Now, prepping for the dive, that's going to be Roman numeral 2. Now notice that the Roman numerals are directly below each other, and that's how you set this up, and you'll see how this continues. Now, under here though, I'm going to now use this A, and A, notice I indent a little ways, because now all the capital letters are going to be one underneath each other, coming down, okay, because these are the main ideas, this is a detail of that idea. Alright. Under A, though, I have a number of things, so I'm going to start with a regulator. And the regulator, once again, I indent over a little bit more for the regulator. And the number 1, the 2, the 3, those will all line up here. So the next thing to go over is the mask. Okay, so that's number 2. Now, again, I have a detail of a detail of a detail, and so this is going to go next underneath that. Once again, I'm going to indent over a little bit further, and that's where the strap is, and the faceplate. Notice how these line up underneath each other, these, then you'll see the B as it comes in next. So B is the sunset. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, I had to go back. Number 3 is the weight belt, and the weight belt goes there. Number 4 are the fins. So they go right there. Alright. Now, I get to B. B is the sunset. Once again, this lines up directly underneath. Alright? And C is being excited. Alright. Now continuing on. We finished with that one. Now we're going to go to Roman numeral paragraph 3. So that's right here. And that is the descent. Again, the Roman numerals are lining up underneath each other. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is how black it was. Alright? And underneath that, my detail is the inky black. Once again, I came over. This is lining up here. But it doesn't have a number 2. And so I just put a little dash there. Okay, next is the B is going to pop up, which is the moray eel. Okay? Underneath here, I've got the fierce look. I've got the attack the fish. I have the color. Keeping these underneath each other. Moving over. The further you move to the right, the more detailed it is. Okay? Then I'm going to have the C. Now, because I've run out of space here, you just do it on one piece of paper, but I'm going to put this up here. This would actually be down there, though. Okay, so the octopus, I've got the color. I've got what he felt like. Okay, and then how he sprayed the ink. All right. Okay, and finally we have the fish, and there's no details under that. All right, and then I have the bottom time. Okay, and at the bottom, I have A, I have the shining the lights, okay, and then underneath shining the lights, I have the coral reef, and then the plankton, okay? Once again, keeping that format running. All right, so finally now, we're going to get to the manta rays, okay? The manta rays right here. And the first thing I'm going to talk about was that there was about 8 to 9 of them that showed up. The second thing is their size. They were huge. 12 to 14 foot. Then how they were bumping into us. And then finally, how it's like they were dancing. Alright, so you can kind of see how that's working. And of course underneath that would be the conclusion. Okay, now it's kind of hard to see with all that there, so I'm going to move this over. Okay, and I'm going to put it on the next page, but before I do that, you can see these lines coming down. In other words, just saying, hey, line up all the Roman numerals. Zhoot. Line up all the capital letters. Right there. And then, of course, you'd line up the numbers and so forth. Now you can see the finished outline right here. Introduction, prep for dive, and so forth, all the way down. And what you should be able to do is put a ruler next to the Roman numerals, and there shouldn't be anything underneath there except for Roman numerals. Okay, and that's what these lines represent. And then the next part is all the capital letters would be lined up. And the next part, all the numbers would be lined up. And then, notice just the A and the B. I don't have any more of those. Okay? So they're all lined up underneath each other. And that's how an outline works. The further you move to the right, the more detailed it is. Alright. So, anyways, your job is to make that outline. Okay? I want you to follow the same thing. You set up the order on the word web, and then you're going to turn it into this type of an outline. You don't have to do the colors, but you need to be sure and indent as you move further to the right with the detail.